Check, check, check. This is Andy Purewell for Boxing News. I'm joined by Dan Rafael here in Las Vegas. Dan, some performance from Terence Crawford. He's stepped up 2 weights and he delivered a masterclass tonight. What did you make of what we saw in the ring?
I thought he did a great job. I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, so what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. But he showed his greatness.
You spoke about looking to back up Canelo in the fight, as you mentioned there, before it took place. How much of a surprise was it, though, just to see how comfortable he felt doing so?
I think it took him a little while to figure out that, you know what, he doesn't hit as hard as some people were saying, and that I can get in and out, and I'm going to be able to stalk him and walk him down a little bit. And he had Canelo extremely frustrated. And so I guess I was a little surprised he was able to do it, especially in those last couple of rounds. But he definitely was the guy that was going forward and back in. I mean, I've been watching Canelo for his entire career as a known fighter. This is my 24th Canelo Alvarez fight in person. I can't say that against anybody, including big punchers like Triple G and Kovalev and people like that saw him get forced back. That's not normal for a fight with Canelo Alvarez.
Dan, given your time covering Canelo Alvarez and those defeats that he's had in his career, but Bivol tonight amongst other kind of contentious decisions, how much is this one going to hurt? Because there's always been those question marks for the last few years. Is he on the decline? Now there's going to be more question marks. Is this the end of a road for Canelo, certainly at the elite level?
I mean, listen, and this is not a disrespect to Canelo, because everybody who has ever read me, followed me, listened to me knows I love Canelo. I think he's one of the greats of all time. I think you can make a really good argument that he's the greatest Mexican of all time, even more than Chavez. That said, he is in decline. He's been in decline for the last few years. He hasn't been what we've seen him at his best since he beat Caleb Plant, that Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Sanders time frame. And, even though he's winning fights, the knockouts haven't happened. He's gotten tired in the later part of the fights. And it's just common. It's the oldest saying in boxing: Father Time is undefeated. This is a man who has now 532 professional rounds. He may be younger in terms of his age at 35 compared to Terence Crawford at age 37. But Terence Crawford, going into this fight at 245 rounds, now he's at 257. He's got basically half the number of rounds that Canelo does. And Canelo has had a ton of those rounds have been grueling and grinding and punishing. Certainly a lot more of those hard rounds than Terence Crawford's had. So it just stands to reason, you get to be that age in boxing, you're going to start to slow down. Now, all that said, it wasn't like he got blown out. It's like he didn't compete. It was a close fight. I mean, around here, around there, he wins the fight. So, yes, is he in decline? 100%. Is he still very capable of beating, good quality fighters? Yes, but Terence Crawford is obviously a special, let's use the word that I hate, but I'll use it, generational kind of fighter.
I know people have mentioned that rematch clause. Dan, do you expect to see Canelo look to make the most of that?
My understanding, there is no rematch clause in this fight. So now Turkey has 2 more fights with Terence Crawford. I mean, with Canelo Alvarez. But I do not believe that Canelo has the right to a rematch. That is what I'm told by members of his team. So even if he did, I don't think there'll be a rematch.
Do you know where that started from then? Because a few people were mentioning that this evening.
Because most people in boxing are idiots and they don't know what's going on. They don't do their homework. They don't make the calls and talk to the right people, and it just becomes a thing. And all of a sudden, it's like in a vacuum in the echo chamber, and it must be true, but it's not true.
Last one from me, Terence Crawford. Where does he go next?
It's a really good question. I mean, he made it very clear here at this press conference after the fight that he's not going back down to 154. He is the undisputed champion at 168. Now, whether he maintains the belts or not, who knows? There's going to be mandatory calling and all that. He doesn't need the belts, obviously, at this stage of the game. He can make huge money and have whatever fights he probably wants. There's nobody really of big name at 160. I guess he'll take a rest. He'll count his money for a little while, enjoy the fruits of his great labor, and then have a conversation with Turki Al-Sheikh and figure out where they want to go next. But I don't see there being some obvious fight. I mean, he was asked specifically about Boots Ennis at 54. He said absolutely not, no reason for that. So you tell me. There's no middleweight champion that means anything for him. Is it, the guys that we were talking about, if Canelo had won, the winner of Eubank and Ben, 2, the Hamza Shiraz. I mean, those types of names. He's got mandatories. Mabili got the draw tonight in a great fight. There's other fighters that have belts and interim belts and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, nobody's going to rush Terence Crawford into his next fight. He'll take his time, and, you know, whatever the next fight is, it's going to be a big one because, you know, his name is even greater now than what happened going into this fight for him. So he beats Canelo Alvarez, you know, it becomes a much bigger deal.
Dan, I appreciate your time. Safe journey home. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, Dan.
You bet.
What's up, man?
All right, man.